here. But Jesus changes everything. Over the past 4 years, I've been able to speak to many different groups, whether it's different teams, whether it's the Razorback football team, South Florida football team, or the Coast Guard Academy, or groups just like this. And people always ask me, they're like, man, does your message change depending on the group you're speaking to, whether it's someone, I've spoken to groups of people that are age of 5 or up to like senior adults. And the reality is, sure, certain things might change, but the one thing that never will change in my life, and the one thing that gives me purpose and is the main reason I'm up here tonight, fired up, is the fact that Jesus changes everything. Like a lot of you guys growing up, there's nothing more that I love to do than be around my friends. And for me, the thing that I love to do was play sports. And I know for everyone in here, there's something that makes you click, or that when you do, you just have a smile on your face. And from the time I was 8 to about 16, I always knew who Jesus was as I accepted him when I was 8 years old into my heart. And I knew that I was going to heaven, but in reality, my life was about me. What could I do to look good, to play good in a certain sport, or what could I do to benefit myself? But everything surely and slowly started to change when I was 16 years old. In December of 2018, during a high school football game, as I looked up at the scoreboard and realized I can no longer tell what the score was. Then I looked at my teammates, and I could still make out who was who, but everyone was blurry. So it would pretty much be like if someone, I would be able to tell who all you guys are right now, but it might just be a little harder for me to tell who you were, which I thought was strange. Since up to this point in my life, I had 20/20 sight. I'd always play competitive baseball, football, basketball. Always been able to do school normally. Was able to drive, which it's honestly probably a blessing I wasn't able to drive anymore, because I'm not going to get into detail about how many wrecks I got in those 4 months, which were not caused by sight, but we're just going to go past that. But all these things got a little harder in one way or another. But right after this football game, I didn't think much of it, because all my life, all I knew was perfect sight. But 2 weeks later, after this game, I went to a local eye doctor, and they didn't know what was going on with my sight, which I thought was strange. But then I went home that night, and I realized that I probably shouldn't be driving, because as I was driving after that eye doctor appointment, I was with my sister, and I looked at the stoplight, and I said, Taylor, which is my sister's name, I said, I don't know what color the stoplight is, and she was like, it's red, now it's green, and I was like, shoot, this is a problem, because I should not be on the roads if I can't even tell what color the signs are. And then as I kept going to eye doctors, a month after I first started losing my sight, I can no longer make out the faces of people around me. So at this point, I could tell like who was who a little bit, but I couldn't tell what their faces looked like. So if I put my hand right here, I might be able to tell my hand is there, but I wouldn't know necessarily the features of my hand, which I thought was strange. And I started to get a little more discouraged as I kept thinking, this isn't how my life is supposed to be. This just is not normal. And then, 2 months after I first started losing my sight, at one of the best eye clinics in Oklahoma, where I was from, I was there for about 8 hours. And after that 8 hours came up, the doctor walked in. And as I'd been there all day, they'd been doing test after test. All I was thinking was, surely, they'll figure out what's going on with my sight, and everything's going to be fine, right? Because nothing bad's going to happen. I was convinced of. Then that doctor walked in and said a word that me, my family, and everyone that knew me my whole life never thought we'd hear. As the doctor came in and said, Will, there might be a chance you're blind. And I remember hearing the word blind that night like it was yesterday. Because in that room, no words were said. It was just utter shock. And you could almost hear the tears coming down my mom's face as it was my mom, my dad, and myself in that room. And we had a 2-hour car ride back to where we lived. And it was at that time in my life that I had to make a decision. Because all my life, my focus was on myself. And like I knew who Jesus was, but that was kind of just an afterthought. Like I put the athlete before Christian, or who people thought I was before Christian. Because that's what matters, right? Being an athlete or being who people think I am, that really matters, right? But then when I got home that night and I realized there might be a chance I was blind, did how people look at me, did that really matter? Because the reality is I couldn't really tell how people looked at me anyways. And then, did being an athlete really matter? When I had dreams of playing college baseball and I might not ever be able to play baseball again? How much does that matter? But then I got on the phone with one of my best friends. And the next day, I met with my high school football coach as he had me in his office. And what both of them did for me had nothing to do with how well I was going to do in a sport or how other people view me. It had everything to do with prayer. With what can God do in this situation? And when I realized, what can God do? And I put my trust in Jesus, the one who died on the cross, not just for my best day, not just if I had perfect sight, if I was playing college baseball, if everyone liked me, not just for that, but even though I might be blind, God still has a plan. God still has a plan. And finally, in May of 2019, 5 months after I started losing my sight, all the way at Johns Hopkins, which is one of the best eye clinics in America, me and my family went to Johns Hopkins where they diagnosed me as blind. And when you think of blind, you think everything's pitch black, you can't see anything. But for me, the doctor described it like this, where I have no central sight, so if I took my glasses off and someone got really up close to me, you would not know where I'm looking. For instance, one time I was at a gas station, I didn't have glasses on, and this lady didn't know I was blind, even though I had my stick, which I thought was a cue that, hey, this guy might be blind, it's not Halloween. But this lady, because you can't always tell where my glasses are looking, or where my eyes are looking, she said, "Sir, would you please stop?" And I was with my friend Stockton, who, so I'll tell you that Stockton's just a goofball. I know we all have friends like that all they do is goof around. So I thought she was talking to Stockton, because obviously I can't tell where she's looking. But she was actually talking to me, and she said again, "Sir, would you please stop?" And I was like, "I'm sorry, what's going on here?" And she said, "I know what you're doing." And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. She said, "Could you please stop checking me out?" And I was like, I have no idea what you look like. You are misreading the situation, ma'am. And so as me and my buddy Stockton walked out of that gas station, and he was just dying laughing, because like I say, he's a goofball, and I was like, man, I do not know what was up with her. But that's one of the main reasons why I wear glasses, so people don't think I'm just checking out something else. And also glasses help because there can be light pressure that can cause my eyes to wear down. But as I got diagnosed blind by this doctor at Johns Hopkins, I remember sitting in that room, and unlike every other appointment where I was pretty much just mad and frustrated, why was God allowing this situation to happen? I remember sitting in that room and smiling. Not because I knew that I was going to do something great through this situation, but because right before I went to this doctor's appointment, I remember, I was going to say read. I was reading Ephesians 2:10, but listening to Ephesians 2:10. I wasn't going to give you guys act like I was blind, then went back to it now. I'm listening to Ephesians 2:10, where it says, "We are God's masterpieces, made for great works long before we were created." And that just gave me so much hope, knowing that, okay, I might be blind, but God is going to use this. And as I left that doctor that day, I believed that God was going to use the situation, but I didn't know how. And as I left, my dad told me, "Will, you might just have been thrown a curveball in your life, and you might not exactly know where your life's going to go," as I didn't. "But you can still do everything in your life," which when he said that, I was like, man, how? I'm all in if I can still do everything I want in my life. Then he said, "But the only way you're ever going to do this is if you make no excuses." And I remember as he said this, just looking at him and thinking, like, that's easy for you to say. Like, you have 20/20 sight, you can see. But then, right when I started thinking of all these excuses, God said, "There's your problem. You're looking around to what everyone else has. And you're not focusing on what it says in Ephesians 2:10. God has made you a masterpiece. No matter what you've gone through, what's happening, or what you've messed up with in the past, in that moment, God really challenged me with this. As it says in Jeremiah 29, verse 11, "For He knows the plans He has for us, plans to prosper and not to harm, plans for hope and a future." And then the next verse says, "And these things will happen when you trust in God." So as I heard this verse, God kept reminding me, "Will, I have a plan for you, but this plan is not going to happen if you just go sit in your room and feel bad for yourself or make excuses the rest of your life. The only way this plan will happen is if, even on the days you feel bad, you get discouraged, even when you mess up, but you have to trust in me even on those days." And an analogy that I like that someone shared with me is knowing that as a Christian, your front mirror is always bigger than your rear view mirror, because the best is always yet to come. And an analogy I like to use is like a track meet. There's 3 types of people in this room, and I've been all 3 at one point in my life or another. In track, everyone at the school I know has a track team, unless you're homeschooled. You might have something still, but and you got 3 types of people in this room. There's the people that just don't run track and don't like running, which personally, I never really liked running. I like playing football and baseball and basketball, but I didn't just like running. But there's those types of people that when there's a track meet going on, they're in the books. Like, they're either focused on grinding in the books, or they just don't like track. And in our Christian walk, those are the people that, like, they have heard about Christianity, or they haven't heard about Christianity, but they just want nothing to do with that. And from the time I was born to 8, that was me. I didn't really know who Christ was, and I probably didn't want much to do with it. And then there's the type of people that they run track, or they're on, I'm gonna say this, they're on the track team, but the only reason they're on the team is to go to the meets. Whether it's to get out of school, or whether it's they're going to a meet because they're trying to get some girl's snap, or they're just trying to do everything they can to just have a good time. And those people are the people that are Christians, but they're not running the race. They're not actually following Christ and His plan He has for us. And that was me from the time I was 8 to about 16. As I knew I was a Christian, but my life was not about Christ. It was about how can I benefit myself. And then finally, there's the type of people that they're running the race, and they're showing up to the track meet, and they're there to win. Like, those are the guys that are like showing up with their headphones in, they're like dialed in. Like, when you get off the bus, you see these guys, you're like, man, they mean business. And those people in life are the people that they don't care what people think of them. They know that no matter what happens in life, as long as it glorifies Christ, then it is worth it. Because you can't always control what's going on in life around you, but what you can control is who lives in you. And how you can run the race every single day of your life, starting right now, or if you are still running the race, keep on going, is from a verse in Romans 12, verse 2. This is where it all starts. It says, do not conform to this world. I think it's on the screen. In Romans 12, 2, it says, do not conform to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. At your guys' stage of life, middle school, high school, and even college, where I'm at right now, it is so easy to conform. And if one of your buddies is doing something and it looks cool, like it's a certain person's liking you because they're doing it, to go along with what they're doing. But if you truly want to follow Jesus and run the race every day and find a peace that you can't find anywhere else, then you're going to have to not conform to this world. If one of your buddies is doing something and you know it's not the right decision, but it sounds fun, don't do it. Because I guarantee one of your buddies, maybe if he's not a Christian and you are a Christian and you make the decision not to do it, maybe in the moment he might make fun of you. He might say, man, this dude's a loser. But in the long run, he's going to remember that. There's been times in my life where I've been given the opportunity to do certain things and I haven't done it. But there's been times where later on, maybe it's 2-3 years later on, one of my buddies who didn't know Christ has came to Christ, and they end up giving me a call saying, I remember that time when you decided to be different. And when you decide to be different, man, it might not always seem like it, but it does make a difference in others' lives. And then a verse that has helped me more than anything with trusting in Jesus every day, as it's a battle, and you really have to take up your cross daily, is Romans 12, verse 12, which is a 3-part verse, which says, be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, and faithful in prayer. And it all starts every day with being joyful in hope. For those of you that have grown up in church, you probably heard the analogy of there's people that are happy and there's people that are joyful. And for most of my life, until I was about 16, I was the kind of person that would either be happy or not happy. If life was going my way, if I was winning in something, if that person liked me, I'd be happy. I'd be energetic. But when something wasn't going good, I lost a game, or someone didn't like me, I was so worried, or down, or as some guys say now, like down bad. But what Jesus has shown me is when you put your hope in Him every day, despite your situation, as it says in James chapter 1, verses 2 through 4, when you consider pure joy when you face trials, not just good times, but when you face trials, you can consider pure joy. Because the testing your faith, I know no one in here likes tests. If you do, then kudos to you, you're probably smart. But the testing your faith produces perseverance. And the awesome thing about perseverance, as it says at the end of this verse, is when you let perseverance finish its race, you will be complete and lacking nothing. And that is how you find joy right there. As it says, put your eyes on things above and not on things of this earth. Because we all know the easy thing in life is to focus on everything around us, or maybe things going on that are wrong. Like for me right now, I still do have struggles, like whether it's tests or figuring out how to do different things, being blind. But the thing that gives me peace and joy every day is knowing my hope isn't in that or this, it's in Him. So that's what I encourage you with. No matter what you're going through, whether it's in school, your personal life, or you've just made a mistake and you're wondering, man, am I even qualified to be in a church right now? When you make a decision to follow Christ, you don't have to go through the highs and lows of this world, but instead, you can have hope. Because you can always be joyful in hope by knowing your hope's not in these things. It's in him every single day. And the second thing you can do to run the race with Christ every single day is being patient in affliction. And I don't know about you guys, but I've always been the type of person that's just terrible at being patient. As I've always been a pretty energetic person, and as my friend Will can tell you, I'm the type of person, like if we're on the way somewhere, like I'll always be asking like, what time is it? Or how much farther do we have till there? Or well, whatever it is. I'm always like kind of an antsy person. But the awesome thing about Christ is you can always be patient in whatever affliction you're facing is. But the only way to find that is by actually going to Christ, by seeking him. And a verse that's helped me when I was seeking Christ is Proverbs 3, verses 5 through 6, which I tell people is a verse I like to repeat in my head as I navigate the University of Arkansas in different places, as I use a stick, which helps me identify what's in front of me. And this verse in Proverbs 3, verses 5 through 6, it says, "Trust in the Lord with all of your heart, and lean not on your own understandings, but in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight." And why I love this is because in life, it's so easy to ask, like, why is this situation happening? Or just jump to conclusions and get so frustrated that we don't even know where to go. As I'm sure you face a time like that. Or maybe you're facing that right now. But when you don't know where to go, I'm just going to encourage you with one word: trust. Trust in him. Because in Luke 1, verse 37, it says, the word of God will never let us down. And so many things will let us down, and I'm sure have let you down. Whether it's that person, a sport, maybe you got hurt, or a game didn't go how you wanted it to go, or maybe someone in your family, or whatever it is. Don't sit there in your seat right now and worry about everything in your life that's letting you down. But instead, trust. Because that is the one thing that has never let me down. Because people that know me know that I am by no means a perfect person, or I'm probably more messed up than most. But the thing that, man, puts a smile on my face every single day is knowing I don't have to know all the answers. But every day, it says in Proverbs 3, verses 5 through 6, I can trust in the Lord with all my heart and lean not on my own understandings. Because Lord knows that would not be good. But lean not on my own understandings. In all my ways, acknowledge him, and he will make my path straight. And the only way that we'll ever know this in life is by being patient in affliction. And the third way that you can run the race in life and follow Christ every day, which has been most important in my life, is by being faithful in prayer. And when I think of prayer, I think of anything in life. When you first start it sounds amazing. But at a certain point, maybe you might stop. Whether it's a sport, maybe you're into dance, music, art, whatever it is. When you first start doing it, you're usually pretty fired up. Think just of the idea of doing it, of how it's going to help you and how you enjoy doing whatever it is. But at a certain point, maybe in the middle of it or whenever it is, times might get tough. And you might ask, like, why am I still doing this? Like, I enjoy doing this, I have a passion for it, but why is it so tough right now? And what I've learned is, when I start losing my sight, and I ask all the time, I ask, why is this happening? Like, can God just take this away right now? I need a miracle in my life right now. And when I kept praying and day and night, and my friends were with me praying, my high school football coach praying, so many people in my life, we were all praying, and they were staying faithful in prayer. And as we prayed for a miracle with my sight, that wasn't the miracle that happened. But what happened is an even bigger miracle. You see, 2 weeks after I got diagnosed blind, I was sitting in my driveway with one of my best friends, and we were talking. And then my mom came in and handed me my phone. She said I got a call from a University of Arkansas phone number, which I thought was strange, but I was pretty excited about. I mean, even though I grew up in Tulsa, Oklahoma, I've always been a huge Arkansas Razorback fan. Whatever it was, like Razorback football, basketball, baseball, I loved it. And she said, Will, here's the phone. I took the phone and got on the other end and said, Will, this is Chad Morris, coach of the Arkansas Razorbacks. At the time, this was Arkansas's football coach as they were going into the 2019 season. And at first, I thought it was one of my friends pranking me because being from Oklahoma, that's just something one of my friends would do. And as Coach Morris started talking to me, he told me that everyone on the Razorback football team was there for me and praying for me. And he actually invited me to go to a baseball game, and he actually gave me my first ever opportunity to come and speak to the Razorback football team in 2019. And that opened up a door to speak to many groups. And that's something that never would have happened if it wasn't for this situation. And people always ask me, they're like, man, I feel bad for you, what you've gone through, like losing your sight. And I always respond with, if you only knew, because every day, by staying faithful in prayer, there's so many doors God opens, whether it's speaking to different groups or people he puts in my life. And the only way I'm able to be open to these doors and to know these doors are there in my life is by trusting in what it says in Galatians 6, verse 9. Do not grow weary in doing good. Because in life, there will be times where you're doing good, you're following Christ, but you just don't see the harvest in the moment. But in this verse it says, do not grow weary in doing good. But at the proper time, you will reap a harvest. Now, I like that part. At the proper time, you'll reap a harvest. But this last part is what it all comes down to for every single one of you guys in life. Because everyone can start whatever they're doing, but not everyone can finish. In this verse it says, do not grow weary of doing good, because at the proper time you'll reap a harvest when you do not give up. And that's my challenge to myself every single day. When things are rough, when life isn't fair, I remember that God is not done with me. And God is not done with any of you guys. Whether you're in the boat of, you're not even close to God. You're not even at the track meet. Or maybe you are a Christian. You're at the meet, but you're just mingling. You're just there because someone else is there. Or maybe you're running the race. You're following Christ. You're on fire. Whatever boat you're in, God is not done with you. But the only way to figure out about this is if you do not give up. And there's still times in my life where I ask, is this really God's plan for me? Like, as I show up to the University of Arkansas in 2021 as a freshman, and it was my first time being by myself since I lost my sight. Only been blind for 2 years. And I kept thinking, is this really God's plan for me? It was hard to navigate. It was hard to find classes at times. It's hard to figure out where to go eat. Hard to figure out how to get to the football facility as I help with the Razorback football team. But every time when I stay faithful in prayer, God opens up doors. As He's opened up many doors to continue to be able to speak to many different groups. And something that Coach Morris, who's the old football coach at the University of Arkansas, but he ended up getting fired because things just did not work out. Something he shares with me whenever I'm going through a hard time is, you're built for this. You're built for this. Whatever you guys are facing, you're built for it. You're built for it when you do not give up. And that's my challenge to everyone. That you will always be able to run the race with Christ when you do not give up and you stay faithful in prayer. And now that when you're running the race with Christ, people always ask me, they're like, man, how can you impact someone else for Christ? And there's two simple ways that have helped me over the past couple of years that have given me peace and just kind of given me energy every single day through Christ, not through me in any way. And the first is by being myself. Because for all of us, we all want people to like us. And it'd be so cool if that one person liked me or whatever it is. But do not change who you are for who Christ has made you to be. I'm going to go back to Ephesians 2, where it said, "You are Christ's masterpiece, made for great works." Who you were created to be is who you were created to be. There's no one like you. And so I encourage you, no matter who anyone else is, or maybe there's someone you really like, you aspire to be them. There's some attributes they have that you want. Okay, that's cool, but keep being you every single day. And for me, I'm kind of different than a lot of people. I don't know many people that are blind. Growing up, I didn't know many people that were Arkansas fans. And recently, ever since I lost my sight, God just gave me passion to bring more energy in life. And something that God put in my heart is, don't change who I am based on who's around. Because other people, no matter if you know it or not, they're always watching you. So whether you have a friend that's not a believer, or whether you have someone that is a believer but they're struggling with their faith, but they see you every day. And you know who you're being? You're just being yourself. That right there, you never know how much you can impact those around you. So I encourage you that. Be yourself no matter who's around, because it truly does make a difference. And the second thing you can do to impact those that are placed in your life every single day for Christ is to put others first. I know we always hear our parents, teachers, or coaches say, put others first. But what does this truly mean? I know for me, when I started losing my sight, a question I always ask is, why? Why is this happening? And even today, there can be times I find myself asking, why? But something a coach shared with me recently is, a lot of people, before they even know what's going on, maybe they're dealing with something hard, and they ask, why? Instead of asking why, ask, what is your why? And that's something I have to remind myself of daily. What's my why? For me, my why is to glorify God and to impact others in a positive way. And so now, when I face something that's hard and that I don't really like, whether it's someone, I have a problem with me and someone else, or have a personal problem, or there's a class that isn't going well, or something in my future doesn't look that good. Instead of asking why, ask, is what I'm doing glorifying God, and am I impacting those around me in a positive way for Christ? So now I want you to ask the same question in your life. When you're facing something that is so hard, or maybe something simple in your life, whatever it is, instead of asking why, ask, what is your why? Is your why just so people will like you? Or is it just so things would go well in your life? Or is your why about something greater than you? Is it about Christ? And how can whatever you're facing, how can that impact others in a positive way to come closer to Christ? Because I promise you this, if your why is about something greater than you, in a relationship with Christ, and making Him known, sure, you're still going to face hard times. But when you face hard times, you'll know that your life is built on something greater than you. And that is the real reason I'm up here tonight, because I know that my life is built on a firm foundation. And no matter what will come tomorrow or for the rest of my life, that I can stand on something that no matter what's going on, I can stand. I can stand on both my feet and not fall down or not be destroyed. Because if I was standing on anything but Christ right now, I don't even know where my life would be. I'd probably be in my room right now, frustrated, making excuses. And complaining about every little thing that's going on, knowing that I can't control everything going on, but knowing that now that I know that my life is built on something greater than me, that my why is why I can wake up every morning with a smile, and knowing that I never know who I can impact, and you never know who you can impact by putting Christ first, despite whatever has happened or is going on. That is why I'm here today. And so now my call to action to everyone in here is, in life, you can be the person that doesn't go to the track meet, isn't a Christian, but when you face hard times, you probably won't know where to go. You'll probably just run into a wall. Or you can be the person who is at the track meet, is on the team, but isn't there to actually run the race. Or you can be the person that is on the track team and is on the team to run the race, and to run the race to win. Because as it says in 1 Corinthians 9, verse 24, in a race, all runners run, but only one gets the prize. Only one gets the prize. So run in such a way to win. And the only way in life you'll be able to run to win is if you run the race with your eyes on Christ every day. So my challenge to everyone in here before I head out is run the race to win for Christ every day, and you'll learn that, man, there is hope despite your circumstance, because Jesus changes everything. Now I'm going to pray for us, and the band's going to come up, and I challenge everyone in here that if you do have a relationship with Christ, that, man, keep on running the race. If you're a Christian, but your life hasn't really reflected it recently, man, there is no time like right now. Whatever you're dealing with, go to Christ, or go to one of your friends that's a Christian, or one of youth workers, or me, and talk to them. Because when you talk about whatever you're dealing with other fellow believers, man, you never know the burden that can be let out of you, and you never know how it can impact you. And then for those of you guys that are not Christians, man, there is no time like now. That is the best decision you'll ever make, to follow Christ. Knowing that, man, that'll give you hope no matter what. And I just want to leave you with this, that there's no time like right now, because you never know what could come tomorrow or what could come tonight. But what you do know is the decision that you can make right now. And really think about that. The decision that you can make right now that could change not only your eternity, but there might be someone who comes across you a week from now. Maybe it's a few months from now, a year, a few years, however long it is. But because you made the decision to follow Christ tonight, and they're able to see that you're being yourself every day, because that's who Christ made you to be. That you're putting others first, because Christ first put others first by dying on the cross. And maybe they're able to come up to you and say, man, what's different about you? And their life has changed because you're able to share that there's nothing great about me. If there's anything great about me, it is Christ that lives in me. So I challenge you with that right there. That tonight is the night. And once I had a friend told me, there's no time like the present. So if you feel something on your heart tonight, don't waste that opportunity to turn it over to God. I think we're going to open up the altar tonight. I almost said altar tonight. But man, if you feel God tugging on your heart, that's no coincidence. God is calling you to something big. And do not avoid that call, because you never know how God can change your life tonight, which in turn is going to change so many lives that you come across in your life. So I'm going to pray us out. And as I'm praying, really think about that. Think about how Jesus changes everything. No matter what you have gone through, are going through, or will go through. Dear Jesus, thank you for bringing us out here tonight. I pray that, tonight, more than anything, that we would just know you more, and that as we leave here tonight, we would make you known, knowing that you are the only hope, and that without you, we are blind. But with you, we don't have to always see what's in front of us, but we'll always have vision, knowing that you know the plans for our life. No matter if something is good or bad, no matter if there's a block in the road, we're stuck in life. But just knowing that even when we don't see it, you're always working our life. And I pray that everyone in here will not leave this room without realizing that you love us so much. You sent your one only Son, not to die for the best days of our life, but the days that everyone around us is telling us, oh yeah, you're the man. But even those days, we've messed up, said something we shouldn't have. Had broken relationships, or the worst thing in our life ever happened, or something small happened. But you died for that. Because you love us so much. And I pray we would not leave here tonight without knowing that you are here. And you're ready to work our life like never before. In your name I pray. Amen.